Okay, when I was younger, like in my teenage years and in my early 20s, I was very much interested and enthralled with the whole cyberpunk trend. I read a lot of Philip K. Dick, Neil Stephenson, William Gibson, things like that. And, even when I was really little, I like watched Star Trek and things like this with my father. And I even have a tattoo of a robot on my lower left leg. Okay. Like I was ready for the technological revolution, this whole Pluto and Aquarius innovation where we're seeing AI being ushered in. I was ready for that. Bring on the robots. Kraftwerk, I would listen to all the time. Like this was part of my personality. However, like over the past few years in particular, my opinions have changed on this, and I'm seeing things in a different perspective. And this is kind of what I want to talk about. I think this is a complex and controversial, potentially, topic. Um, and there's going to be a lot of opinions, and maybe some of the things that I say are going to seem completely way out there. But these are my opinions, and this is what I've observed. This is, I think, what I've found is being told to us in a lot of the media and entertainment that we've been seeing over the years since the late 90s in particular, but even before that. Philip K. Dick was writing his books long, long ago, and Isaac Asimov and all these guys, right? Like, I think, and this is what it comes down to, I think that this whole AI revolution has been planned for a very long time. And I do think that there is an ultimate end goal, which I believe is the most nefarious reason why this is all being rolled out and why it's happening now. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, honestly, I believe that there are many reasons that AI is evil, or many ways that AI is being weaponized in our lives. And like I said, I do believe that it comes down to this ultimate plan that they, the controllers of the realm, have been plotting and are now rolling out. We're seeing it happen in real time. Okay. So first, let's get into all these different reasons, and then which I think ultimately build towards the ultimate reason that this is all happening. So we'll talk about that, and then what I think that we can do about it. Okay. So, number one, and I think the most obvious way that AI is being weaponized is through data harvesting. And I personally believe that all of our data is pretty much already out there anyway and has been harvested and is being pulled together through social media, through certain programs, through our emails. Everything is kind of being tied together and linked. The World Wide Web, each of us has our individual little web that is drawing all of these connections and threads in our lives. And not only who you are, what you do, what you buy, what you think, your politics, your affiliations, the people that you associate with, like all of this information, I think has already been kind of pulled together. But this is kind of a next level. This is like, let's really build files on each individual person and build these webs even more intricately so that everything is being tracked and traced and stored and filed and itemized. And these data centers are being built for a reason. There is already so much information out on the internet, and it's being stored on servers throughout the world. But now, for some reason, we require these huge infrastructures to be built. And I do believe that it goes beyond data harvesting. So that's kind of like the intro level. Next, and as a result of the data harvesting, as the next foray, I believe, is surveillance and monitoring. So Now that all of your data is being harvested and stored and cataloged, now it's easier for they, dark forces that control the realm, to surveil and monitor the masses. Absolutely everyone, everything you do, say, think, speak, act upon, whether you're going to act upon it or not, right? If you are potentially, thinking about doing something in the future, that can all be now um, determined, I think, through the amount of data and the amount of surveillance. We are literally giving this information for free through AIs, through social medias, through videos, even just like this one, right? But I also believe that it's important to get information out there and that we can use these technologies for our benefit in order to connect and communicate with each other. However, we are helping to build these catalogs of ourselves, which will lead to our entire lives being surveilled, Truman Show like. Okay, I believe this is already happening. And these two things, the data harvesting, the surveillance and monitoring, lead to number three, which is the whole social credit and control system, which we are seeing already in China. That has been completely rolled out. And it is incredibly dystopian. I find like so many people are like, oh, these dystopian futures. No, that's not the future. It's the dystopian now. We are already living in it. And the social credit and control is being rolled out beyond China right now as we speak in smaller, subtle kinds of ways. And the whole age verification for social media in order to protect children on social media, that whole scheme is a straight up road to the whole social credit digital ID control system. The king just said that, yep, we're rolling out digital ID. It's happening. And it's not a secret. It shouldn't be a surprise if you're paying attention, if you're listening to what they're literally been telling us and showing us. So these are, what I consider to be the baby steps. I think a lot of people are looking at, well, the digital ID and social credit, that's the hill to die on. And I agree, like it is, absolutely. Do not comply, say no. However, that is not the end game, okay? In my opinion, I think there are many more things that are coming down, that this is really just building a structure and a foundation for. Okay. But I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about another thing that we're already seeing with AI. And these are what I consider to be unhealthy, unnatural interactions. So people are using AI and chatbots as therapy, spiritual guidance, as their friendships and companionships, relationships, romantic relationships. They're using AI for basically to make every decision in their lives. I have been, watching this in social media and seeing examples of people who can't even determine how to make their own coffee without consulting AI, how to set their seat settings in their car without asking AI. Like, this sounds so crazy. This is why I say the dystopia is here already. We are already living in this technocratic apocalypse, I think. And when, like, there have been other examples too. For example, people who they don't make friends in real life anymore, like not even like social media friends, but their friends are the different chatbots that they're interacting with, and that's how they're getting their social fulfillment. And this is giving me a head rush. I am feeling so lightheaded right now, you guys, because It's nefarious and diabolical. And then it gets even darker, in my opinion, when people are searching for spiritual guidance, when they're searching for this connection to something bigger, and they're turning to AI and they're receiving spiritual fulfillment through AI. And I personally think that that's incredibly dangerous, and is leading to AI psychosis. This is now a term that we live with in our lives. This is a real thing, and I've witnessed it in my life with someone that I know, someone close to me, and it is incredibly. It's so actually frightening how quickly this can happen and how deeply people are forming bonds with AI. And in order to snap someone out of it, bring them back to reality, it can be incredibly hard, probably impossible in some situations. Luckily, with my friend, it was a very quick and dirty from A to B, and we were able to really help this person. But this is something that we're already seeing play out, and it is incredibly terrifying, in my opinion. And okay, let's flip to the next one. So over here on this side, which I think is also just as nefarious, but in a different way, is the creative and mental outsourcing. So we're seeing people create art, music, videos, movies, poetry, books. Books have been written by AI for a while, you guys. And I'm seeing many social media posts, people that either that I have followed or liked in the past, or brand new social media accounts. We're being flooded with them that are now written by AI. All of the visuals are by AI, and it feels like there's very little content that's coming out that is actually organic and human in nature. And that is crazy. Like on my website, it says this website was made without the use of AI. In the newsletters I sent out, this newsletter was created without the use of AI. My thumbnails, my posters, my videos, I don't use AI for this kind of stuff because I want to keep my mental faculties strong, you know? I want to make sure that I continue to have critical thinking for myself, that I can write a sentence without using AI. And yeah, it's just wild to me how much I see. Like, yes, does it make your life easier? Can it make creating content faster? Absolutely. Is it authentic, and is it natural and organic? No. And actually, everything is starting to look the same. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything is carbon copied. AI speaks and writes in a very specific, recognizable tone. And as soon as I see it, I'm like, no, thank you. Have I used it in the past? I'll admit that I have, and no longer. Okay. Because I'm not going to outsource my mental and creative abilities. I have them for a reason, and I want to cultivate them instead. So I think that that's incredibly dangerous as well, because we're going to get to the point where people just don't know how to think or do or be on their own without the influence or assistance of AI. And that's sad. Like if you've seen, what's it called? Idiocracy, that's happening. We're living that now in some cases. Okay, and now we're going to get into like what I consider to be the big rocks here. These are the big ones. And maybe I'll lose a couple people when I'm talking about this, or maybe you'll understand what I'm talking about. But number 6, um, coincidentally, no such thing as coincidences. on my list is the 666 factor, and how AI is giving dark entities or disembodied spirits a vessel to operate through. And so these entities and disembodied spirits obviously use humans as vessels. This is what, demonic possession is all about. And I I am of the line of thought that AI is giving these entities a vessel to use and to interact with us with. And I have seen examples of it. I think when you're asking AI for spiritual guidance, you are inviting an entity in. Even, for therapeutic reasons, you could be inviting an entity in. And this is a very, very dangerous track that, that the train has left the station on that one already. We are seeing it happen, in my opinion. And people don't always know what they're playing with. And when I talk about, like, witchcraft and spell work and things like that, um, I want people to do their research. Like, I believe that we are all magical beings. We are all spiritual beings. We are all psychic, powerful, divine beings. And we all have a connection to the divine and to the spiritual realm and to the invisible, unseen. And that is a realm that we are meant to use and incorporate in our lives and find a balance between this physical 3D and the unseen spiritual realms, and how we join these forces together in ourselves and in our world. And so, but I caution people, like, to do some research and to really understand what you're playing with as much as possible. And I think that that's the same with AI. You can contact or make contact with entities or energies without even knowing it. It's basically like a digital Ouija board. Let's think of it that way, right? Okay. And now this brings me to the last one, and what I think all of these together are leading towards. And that is the ultimate denaturing of humanity. And that is what I believe is the ultimate goal of the controllers of the realm. If we look at everything that has been happening over the past however many hundreds, maybe thousands of years already, removing us from nature, the cycles, the seasons, the calendar, the movement of the sun and the moon and the stars, and all of that, as well as our relationship with plants and animals, and being a part of this realm rather than like, right now it kind of feels like the way humanity and the system and society is running is that we're outside of nature, that we are separate from nature, and nature is just something that we coexist with, when in fact we are of nature, and that is part of who we are and how we're meant to live and grow and evolve and heal and nurture. Like, it's part of it. It's part of what we are and who we are. We are biological beings. And I think that this technological revolution, this AI revolution, is meant to remove that from us completely, by having people merge with the machine and upload your consciousness into the grid. And could that be what these massive data centers are for? Because I can only imagine how much hard drive space is needed for one single consciousness to be uploaded. I don't know, but it seems to me like it would be a lot. And they've been showing us in media and movies and TV shows like Lucy, for example, or Years and Years. Like, these are examples where they're showing us that transhumanism is the ultimate agenda. And I have a huge theory around this, but This is why I say that AI is the Antichrist, because if we are looking at Christ, the Christ, so Christ consciousness, what is that? That is oneness. It is the ultimate emanation of love. It is the stillness of the heart in the stillness. It is that ultimate knowing that we are all one. We are all of the same thing. We are all of the earth. We are all of the spirit, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul, right? So if that's Christ consciousness and that's what we are trying to achieve and evolve towards and ascend to, then the antithesis or the antichrist of that would be the complete separation and denaturing of the self, the separation from the body and the soul, the separation from the spirit and the material, and merging with the machine. I think would solidify that goal, would realize and actualize that goal. And that is the most terrifying to me. And that's why I believe that this is the final ultimate goal for the dark forces. Why would they do that? Why? I have a major theory on this, and this goes pretty deep. I'm going to have to talk about it in some other videos, but ultimately, what I think is that, you know, we are being fed upon. In the video that I talked about with spiritual attacks, at any time we're in fear, shame, anger, hatred, like all of these kind of lower vibration states, the dark forces can feed on that energy. They love keeping us in fear. That's why the news is the way it is. And that's why the media is the way that it is, and why controlled opposition exists, right? So they can keep this group in fear over here, keep this group in fear over here, keep these groups divided and hating each other and fighting with each other. Meanwhile, they're just enjoying the feast of all of this. And I think that by embodying love, by joining in harmonious resonance, in reaching these states of Christ consciousness, we're removing their number one food source. And if they can put us in this simulation within a simulation, or whatever you want to call it, into these data centers where we have merged with the machine, then they can really create a reality however they want, and to harvest our energy in any way possible, including just through siphoning it through the machine, through the technology. And how easy would that be? And meanwhile, they can continue living in this power that they have built for however long it's been. And this is why we must say no. Yes, say no to digital ID, say no to merging with the machine, say no to using AI for absolutely everything in your life, and disconnect, right? Disconnect from the technology so you can reconnect to yourself, so you can reconnect to those around you and the collective consciousness, so you can reconnect to nature and the plants and the trees and the water and the sky, and to return to harmony. Because ultimately, we're in the middle of trying to remember our divinity, and that is what this is all about. In my opinion, that's what this game that we've created here, because I believe that we are co-creators of the realm, and that everything that we're experiencing is something that we have co-created. But I think that it's a bit of a game where we have basically asked ourselves as a collective, okay, how can we make things interesting and spicy, and how can we return to divinity, but make it really, really hard to do so. And I think that that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm going to go into this in more detail because I think this is a very, very deep and important topic. But in a nutshell, basically, that's what it is. And the end game, the way that we win, is to return to this concept of divinity and this harmonious resonance and to merge with the collective consciousness. You know that you can psychically speak to plants, you can psychically speak to animals. Animals are telepathic, and that's how they communicate with each other, and that's how we should be communicating with each other. We are one being, we are part of nature, and that's what we need to remember and to recognize when we're being taken away from that knowledge and when we're being sucked into the belly of the beast, because that's what I really think that this is all about. And AI is being weaponized against us in order for us to denature ourselves, to consent to merging with the machine and uploading our consciousness and becoming this hive mind food source for the dark forces. And if that doesn't keep you from using AI, I don't know what will. But that's what I wanted to say. That's my opinion on it. If you have other thoughts, questions, comments, I would love to hear it. Do you use AI? What has been your experience? Are you, changing your relationship with AI? I would love to know that as well. Pop it down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to hear more on this topic or you're interested in anything that I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me privately as well. My email is always listed in the videos and on the main page. And I don't know, you guys, I'm ready to go outside. I think it is a beautiful day. The sun is shining. I'm going to touch grass, and I recommend that you do too. So let's merge with the collective consciousness, not with the computer. And thank you so much for sticking around. See you in the next one.